Welcome to the Point of Darkness.
On the edge of a small town surrounded by forest stood a 24-hour convenience store, called the Beacon. During the day, ordinary customers came and went, teenagers buying chips, truck drivers grabbing coffee, old people picking up bread. But at night, the store changed. People avoided looking through its windows after midnight. Rumors spread for years that something inside the building was wrong. Truck drivers told stories about seeing motionless people standing between the aisles late at night. They never moved, never blinked. And when someone entered the store, those people were gone. The real story began with a young man named Artem. He was 22 years old and had recently dropped out of college. He got hired for the night shift because the pay was surprisingly good. On his first day, the manager warned him, "If you hear knocking from the storage room after 3 a.m., don't open the door." Artem laughed it off. The first week was quiet. He sat behind the register drinking coffee, scrolling through his phone, and serving the occasional customer. But every single night at exactly 3:17 a.m., the same thing happened. The lights flickered, the refrigerators hummed louder, and the security cameras shut off for 1 second. Then everything returned to normal. One night Artem decided to check the security footage. He rewound the cameras to 3:17 a.m. The store was empty. Then the screen glitched, and in the next frame, a tall man wearing a black jacket stood between the aisles. He had no face, only darkness where his head should have been. Artem froze. But the worst part was this: the figure was staring directly into the camera. The next night Artem arrived nervous and exhausted. At 3:17 a.m., the lights flickered again. Then he heard something, the squeaking sound of a shopping cart. Somewhere deep inside the store, he slowly stepped out from behind the register. The store looked empty. The squeak came again. Artem grabbed a flashlight and walked toward the cleaning supplies aisle. Nobody was there, but an old metal shopping cart stood in the middle of the floor, slowly rocking back and forth, as if someone had just let go of it. Then a voice spoke behind him. "Are you closing?" Artem turned around instantly. A pale woman stood there wearing a long gray coat. Her eyes looked impossibly dark. "No, we're open 24 hours, he answered nervously. The woman smiled. "That's good." She grabbed a basket and wandered through the aisles. Then Artem noticed something horrifying. The cameras couldn't see her. On the monitor, the aisle was completely empty. A cold feeling crawled down his spine. Several minutes later, the woman approached the register. Inside her basket were strange items: fresh dirt, an old child's shoe, a box of salt, and a photograph. Artem picked it up. It was a picture of himself sitting behind the register. The photo looked freshly taken, only minutes old. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. The woman slowly raised her head. "He's already coming." "Who?" She didn't answer. She only smiled wider. Then the lights went out, completely. The store fell into total darkness. Artem could hear only the humming refrigerators and his own breathing. Then came the sound of footsteps, heavy, slow, somewhere between the aisles. Boom, boom, boom. It sounded like something enormous was walking through the store. With shaking hands, Artem turned on his flashlight. The beam swept across the aisles. Nothing. But the footsteps continued. Closer. Boom, boom, boom. Then he saw it. A figure standing at the far end of the store. Too tall to be human. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. It had no face, only black emptiness. The figure slowly moved forward. The flashlight began flickering violently. Artem backed toward the register. "What do you want from me?" he whispered. Then the creature spoke. Its voice sounded like a broken radio. "You saw me." The refrigerators suddenly shut off. Dead silence filled the building. Then every shelf in the store began shaking. Cans crashed onto the floor. Glass shattered. Shopping carts rolled by themselves. Artem ran for the exit, but the automatic doors wouldn't open. He slammed his fists against the glass. Behind him, the footsteps returned, slow, heavy, closer. He turned around. The creature now stood beside the register. Then every security monitor turned on at once. All of them showed the same image: Artem, dead, standing inside the store with empty eyes. He screamed and collapsed onto the floor. And then, the lights suddenly came back on. Everything was normal. The shelves were untouched. The woman was gone. The creature had vanished. The doors opened normally. The next morning Artem quit his job. He never told anyone what happened. But 1 month later another night employee disappeared. Then another. People began noticing something strange. Every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., the store cameras shut off for several seconds, and sometimes, during the blackout, a pale figure appeared behind the register, with empty eyes. It was Artem. But the worst part came later. Years afterward, the store was demolished. A parking lot was built over the land. Everyone assumed the nightmare was over, until construction workers discovered an old metal door beneath the foundation. It led deep underground. When they opened it, they found a long concrete corridor. At the end of it stood dusty supermarket shelves, rusty, rotting, still fully stocked with expired products. There was also an old cash register. It was turned on, even though there was no electricity underground. On the screen were glowing words, "The next customer is already inside." 3 workers disappeared after that discovery. Police sealed the underground corridor with concrete, but people in town still claim that sometimes, late at night, lights can be seen beneath the empty parking lot, as if the store is still operating underground, and if you stand there long enough, you can hear the squeaking of a shopping cart.
Friends, thank you for watching to the end. If you don't mind, please support me with a like and a subscription. I'll see this and will make more and better videos. Thank you for your attention.